Most people think mirroring in relationships is harmless or even positive. But what if I told you that there's a dark side? A covert manipulation tactic where vicious actors reflect your deepest beliefs and values, not to connect, but to trap and control you. This is not about empathy. This is psychological warfare hiding in plain sight. Stay with me as we unravel the disturbing truth about psychological mirroring manipulation. Mirroring is often seen as a natural and even beneficial social behavior. We subtly mimic others' gestures, tone, or opinions to build rapport and trust. But what happens when this instinctual behavior is weaponized? Psychological mirroring manipulation is a dark twist on that human tendency. Unlike genuine mirroring, it involves consciously reflecting someone's core beliefs or values, not to empathize, but to deceive. It's a form of false reflection designed to create a false sense of trust, making the target feel deeply understood and aligned, while the manipulator secretly exploits that trust to control or influence decisions. Historically, this has roots in con artistry, cult recruitment, and political propaganda where trust is the currency. Vulnerable individuals are drawn into a warm, affirming mirror that seems to validate their identity, only to be trapped inside a controlling narrative. This manipulative mirroring breaks down personal boundaries, dissolves identity boundaries, and opens pathways for deeper exploitation. The difference is subtle but crucial. Genuine mirroring fosters connection. False mirroring creates dependency and paves the way for psychological control. As you've seen in previous episodes of this series, the erosion of trust and identity is central to deep manipulation, and fake mirroring is a prime tool for that. One of the most chilling examples of psychological mirroring manipulation is found in the story of Jim Jones and his People's Temple. Jones expertly mirrored the desires, values, and fears of his followers, promising racial equality, social justice, and a utopian community that resonated deeply with marginalized and oppressed individuals in the 1970s. Jones wasn't just repeating slogans. He tailored his message and behavior to personally reflect the identities and hopes of different followers, making each feel uniquely understood and valued. This fake mirroring built profound loyalty and trust that overrode skepticism and resistance, even when his demands grew controlling and abusive. As the People's Temple grew, Jones intensified this manipulative mirroring, evolving from ideological reflection to emotional and psychological control. He created an echo chamber affirming his twisted worldview and silenced dissent by reinforcing the idea that leaving meant betrayal or doom. The ultimate catastrophe, the Jonestown mass suicide murder, was the tragic outcome of trust built on manipulated psychological mirroring. This case illustrates how fake mirroring can first bind, then break identity, trust, and autonomy. But the dark art of mirroring manipulation didn't remain confined to cults. Fast forward to today. Psychological mirroring manipulation is weaponized on a mass scale through political propaganda and social media. Politicians and groups exploit the tactic by reflecting the fears, values, and biases of specific demographics with uncanny precision. Algorithms curate content that mirrors exactly what individuals want or believe, creating an illusion of perfect understanding and alignment. This reinforces not just opinions, but identity itself, a dangerous echo chamber where critical thinking fades and emotional bonds to manipulated narratives grow stronger. This mass fake mirroring generates allegiance and motivates action, sometimes resulting in polarization, violence, or blind compliance with destructive agendas. What's terrifying is how invisible this process is. People believe they are being authentically heard, not realizing they're being manipulated through strategic mirroring that bypasses their defenses. Now here's what nobody tells you. This manipulation works because it hacks trust and identity exactly where they're most vulnerable. The innate human desire to be seen and accepted. By faking that acceptance, manipulators dismantle resistance from the inside out. So how does this dark mirroring tactic actually work on a psychological level? First, it activates the brain's social reward systems, making targets feel safe, validated, and connected. This floods the mind with oxytocin and dopamine, which dull skepticism and reinforce trust. Next, it leverages cognitive dissonance. When someone feels deeply mirrored, their brain seeks to resolve any conflicts by rationalizing the manipulator's words and actions, even if harmful or contradictory. This fuels compliance. Crucially, fake mirroring erodes mental boundaries. When your core beliefs and values appear reflected perfectly, you unconsciously lower your defenses. Your sense of self blurs with the manipulator's projected identity, leading to boundary dissolution and identity confusion. And it doesn't stop there. The manipulator may then escalate demands or introduce control, knowing the target's trust and identity are compromised. This sequence builds a psychological trap that's difficult to escape. But here's where it gets disturbing. Once trapped, victims often do not recognize the mirroring as manipulation, believing instead they've found genuine connection. This makes exposure and recovery far more complex than with overt abuse. The outcomes of psychological mirroring manipulation are as varied as they are devastating. In cults like People's Temple, it led to mass death. In politics, it fractures societies and fuels violence. In personal relationships, it fosters emotional dependency, abuse, and identity erosion. Universal across these contexts is a pattern. Fake mirroring creates trust that breaks down autonomy and inflames emotional and cognitive control. This trust is a Trojan horse, appearing warm and familiar, but inside lies betrayal and control. Another key lesson is the importance of skepticism toward too perfect reflection. If you find yourself deeply and rapidly bonded to someone who seems to echo your beliefs and values flawlessly, that should raise a red flag. Genuine relationships involve complexity and difference, not perfect mirroring. Understanding this helps prevent the most dangerous trap, losing your selfhood and becoming a puppet to someone else's agenda. Recognizing the hallmark signs allows for early intervention before damage becomes irreversible. Recognizing and resisting psychological mirroring manipulation requires awareness and boundary strengthening. First, cultivate self-awareness by examining if someone's reflected beliefs feel too perfect or scripted. Ask yourself, does this connection challenge me or simply echo me? Genuine connection includes healthy disagreement and growth. Second, strengthen mental boundaries through assertive communication and critical questioning. Resist the impulse to accept every reflection as truth. Instead, test claims and intentions. Third, diversify social input. Avoid echo chambers by engaging with differing perspectives to build cognitive resilience. Lastly, be cautious of emotional flooding that accompanies mirroring. If feelings become overwhelming, take a step back to recenter. By consciously applying these defenses, you can disrupt the manipulator's control and protect your identity and autonomy from this covert tactic. The dark tactic of psychological mirroring manipulation reveals how trust and identity, the very foundations of our autonomy, can be weaponized through subtle deception. If you've been following this series, you know that understanding these manipulative strategies is key to reclaiming control over your mind and life. Next time, we'll dive even deeper into covert tactics that dismantle identity through more insidious psychological warfare. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss these eye-opening insights.